Hey! Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we're going to be taking a look at NCT Wish's track called Hands Up. Excited for this for two reasons. Firstly, it is a Patreon request, shout out to Jay for the request, but secondly, in this session that I've been recording, I had just taken a look at NCT 127's track Cherry Bomb, which is way older than this track is by a good hot minute. We're looking at a difference between 2017 and 2023. So not only am I looking for different choreographic innovations, yes, it's going to be different choreographers for sure, different members, different things that are demanded in the 2020s in comparison to the 2010s. I know all of this. Very excited to see the difference between the two groups, as well as just what are the overlap kind of vibes in the sense of movement quality, synchronicity, that kind of stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. Woo! Hey! Okay. Nice. Woo! Fun. Oh man, this is fun. Woo! Wow! That was fun. That was really fun. Just looked, Yichen and Root from 1mil choreographed it. I like it. It's a good vibe. I'm a fan of it. This one's super dope. Let's go ahead and look at the music video.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey! Cool. This is so fascinating. This gives me, because it's green, it reminds me of, if you've ever seen Robin Williams' Flubber, it reminds me of that or Ghostbusters. But like not in concept at all, just in the color and the kind of like how it looks. Reminds me of that. Cool. This definitely feels, I feel like Gen 5 has a sound now, which is very like triumphant, declarative. It's I can't quite place it. There's such a overlap in a lot of the, not concepts, but in like how the tracks sound, I think, more so there than the actual physical concepts, where, I mean, a part of it could stem from, I mean, if you look choreographically, you have a lot of people who come from similar niches in the industry that are choreographing for these groups, you know, because you have like Choi Young-jun from 17, you know, from 1 Mil. You also got Root and Yi-chan choreographing from 1 Mil. You got, I mean, a lot of studios, like a lot of people who teach at 1 Mil can also teach at Just Trick Academy. You can also teach at, oh my gosh, what's it called? There's, oh my gosh, hold on. Feedback was the studio I was looking for. I don't know why my brain broke. It's been doing that lately. My apologies. But anyway, all that to say, like, there is some choreographic overlap in terms of who they've been having choreograph a lot of these routines. Of course, you have people from America a lot of times that are coming out and doing a lot of choreo too. You got YGX, you know, the whole shebang. Anyway, I digress. So I feel like there's some sense of choreographic overlap, but not in a plagiarism case, more fingerprint-wise when it comes to quality and how the levels and spacing and staging and just the physical demand of the routines, it kind of just gives off that energy a little bit more. I love it. I'm here for it. This was such a vibe, so different than 127's Cherry Bomb by a lot, like extensive. That one was heavy unison, definitely part of the era, but also the choreographer and many notes over there, and you could watch that one there. But with Hands Up here, there's so much going on. There's so much of this happening, which is exactly, for me, it's just icing on the cake. It helps you appreciate the type of track it is. Definitely feels like we're gonna overcome, but we're on a mission. It feels like that. Very appropriate for like their age. Like it feels very age vibes, you know, like it does give like, I don't know. It's just, it feels Gen 5. Like that's just all I can say right now on just the sound context. But anyway, movement. Let's go through it. Do I have to 0.75 it? Maybe. I like that. The jump out, boom, boom, very full in how they present themselves. Oh yeah, that boom, boom, boom. I love that he hits it. And then right here, you have two of them range out their arms to create more spacing. You have somebody that is a little bit lower. It is an even number as well. Interesting, because with even numbers, you always have to factor in potential sacrificing of somebody behind somebody else for the sake of symmetry. Here in this case, you have a level represented, somebody that's lower and somebody else is higher. So they're doing a lot of peekaboo feature choices where you have somebody that is in the center, and then you have somebody that, like, you have frames where you have two high, and then you have somebody, oh, it's a smiley face, and then somebody a little bit lower, and then of course you have people accenting on the outside. So I think it's pretty fun. Super fun. I like the class on that boom and a boom and using the hat to make that a fun little transition moment. Then you have somebody present with their arms forward, everybody else their hands are down. I love the intention of the placement where I'm stopping. Everyone's doing a great job in their range there. I like how he picks it up. Hands up. Also, what really bothered me about Cherry Bomb, they fixed it here. Like two completely different groups of NCT, right? Totally fine. Cherry Bomb, there was a part, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. They never actually clap their hands there, and it's bothered me a lot. Here, when they say hands up, guess what they do? They put their hands up. Not only that, how they choose to do it is different almost every time. I like that. Like, that's the kind of stuff that is right up my alley. I also like puns, so that's just my kind of niche. I appreciate wordplay extensively. Especially if it's English lyrics, when I can understand it first time through, that's just my vibe personally. But not everybody has to go that way. I love that. Love it on the sound. It matches really great. The isolation of the chest as they go and extend it with the forearm. Super cool. Let's go. Notice that they suspend it to match. Go. Let's go. And they go to the other side. Yes, bringing it through. Boom, boom. Dropping it down. Really nice. Bringing it through. Da-da-da. Love that. Boom, boom. Here. Then they're getting ready with the fingers. Watch out. Really nice seeing that too. Bringing it through. Da-da-da-da-da. Really nice seeing that too. The accent there. Boom. I love that. Super cool. Then it goes dee-dee-dee-dee. Notice that he branches it down. Really fun. Seeing that choice in the center. Then he goes, bah. That was a fun little playful moment. And right there, it triggers everybody else coming in hot. Running it through, da-da-da-da, right now, running right now. Love that. He takes it through. Boom. Notice he's not straight center. He's splitting center, but it was easy to know who my feature was because of the outlier movement that he did. But it was so complimentary to everybody else. So you keep your features that are, you know, it doesn't feel disconnected at all. And I'm very much a fan of that. Really cool. Love that little sway. I love that part too with the little trot back. Really nice. Everybody making their own choice, bringing it around. I love that. Super fun. Everybody goes through, and notice that we keep it really subtle and slinky as we transition. Your feature is the only one that is not doing that. Easy to catch. I like that. Once again, you have your levels nice and low, and then you have three that are representing high. Also in my head, I am troubleshooting a little bit in my head. I'm like, why does this have some sense of familiarity? I would say formation structures are familiar to me, very much so too. I think there's another Gen 5 group that has a group of 6. Is it To Us? I think it's that one. Where from Pletus. I think like, well, now I gotta go verify. I can't just say that. Hold on. Okay, just checked. Yes, 6-member group. Some of their choices in overlap and formations are very much like this because you have an even number. And so that's probably another thing where that kind of reiterates what I was saying when you have choreographer overlap. I'm not saying that whoever choreographed To Us also choreographed for New Team or Wish, NCT Wish. But it's I think that it's, oh my gosh, Jess, brain turn on. It just feels like with the formations, you just see overlap in them. Probably because of my saturation and what I've looked at recently. We can probably chalk it up to that as well. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. There's just a sense of familiarity behind it. And every single time you see it used, it's effective and beneficial. So all that to say, I really like the formula. It works because I'm captivated every time I watch it. It doesn't feel stale or stagnant. So that's a really good job stewarding on the movement direction side there. From here, I like the little accent from another feature. He accents down. Very nice to catch him. And then we go really nice with the arm. And we take it really nice moment with the other arm as we track it down. He takes it through. Dun dun. It's fun. Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Really cool. Like that choice. Like the switch through and little dig. Dig. I really like that choice. And you have your two on the outside with the arms up. Great level representation. Subtlety. Boom. Nice little walk right here. It does feel... oh my gosh, this has a name for it. What's it called? Okay, I've heard that groove or that hip hop like influenced move called the shmoney, which is this right here. Now, it could be called other things too, but just based on what I was able to initially glean, that's kind of the underlying term that is used across multiple tutorials or people that cite the move. So going back, let's actually verify that. Yeah, it's shmoney is what that would be called. S-C-S, or it's like S-H-S-C-H money, you know, pretty much. Anyway, I digress. I like that, switch it through. And then right here, we go from a shmoney into a gangsta walk. I love how they do that little gangsta walk. Now notice, with the gangsta walk, a lot of times you really have like an emphasis on a head ISO for that. But I do like how we kind of dug it and everybody made it their own, and you created a really fun level that transitioned down that made the feature be counterbalanced in a way, which I really liked. That was cool. I like the little punch. I like that, where that all feels like a vibe. That boom, boom. Cool, communal. I like this part right here. Nice. Oh my gosh, there's so much. There's so many like little party moves in play here. I am such a fan. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what is that called? Dug some more. I think this is just simple. Like for me, I thought it was like a jump roping type of groove. It's not. It's just a step. It's just a step touch. It's just a two-step. I was overcomplicating it in my head. I like this pull with a little pull. Boom, boom, boom. I like the little syncopation, dropping it lower. And everybody dropping except for your two features. Really nice surprise. Easy way to encompass a good harmonic moment between the two, but also with the track. Matches very well. Good transition. Drops down. Dee-dee-dee. Notice that they bring it up. And you have the person that's on the lowest level. Once again, another peekaboo kind of formation. But they switch it up ever so slightly because you showcase a representation of a new angle that kind of looks like an arch over your feature that is in the center. Cool. Love that. And you also have your lower level. He's also showcasing some familiar, something to complement what's already going on in the arch in the upper part of the level. I love that choice. Do over, boom, dun dun. He goes and he branches it out. I like that choice with the single arm because you have your guy in the lowest level with both arms bringing it through. So you already have this type of hand showcased. So it's complementary between your feature and what's already established in frame. You also have those that are going more towards the side. More transformic, if that makes sense, like a transformer. Kind of gives off that energy, which is cool. Subtle change, boom. And then he pushes and it causes an effect with the guy on the lowest level. I love that. It's subtle. He takes it, bump, bump, subtle, and I love it. And then everybody drops. Whew, that's cool. Then it goes hands up, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. And I like the choice with the head to really make this a fun moment to branch it out in the formation. Then you have dee-dee-dee, and I like how they kind of pick up that leg and scuff it forward, and then they take it a fun little trace and the little groove that's happening in the torso, because groove originates in the torso. It's your flavor. So when you do a hip-hop influenced terminology or vocab like what you've definitely seen here and what I've very quickly seen here too, it's made me have to dive to verify a couple of moves at this point, which is awesome because that means I get to grow in the process. When I see something familiar but I can't recall it immediately, I gotta stop and find it so I can continue growing too. But all of this right here, I love this. This probably has a name, but if we can itemize it, it's a trace that's happening, arms established out, you take the leg and you scuff it forward, and you make it a nice moment with the chest to complement. Looks great. Then they take it through, and they keep the groove in the lower half of the body going between the hips, the core, as well as the leg, but they switch the arms from that trace to punch it forward. So I like that choice. Put your hands up, and get it, their hands are up. Love it. Hola, hola. I like that choice. Dee-dee-dee-dee-ch. And we bring it so it's a nice energy that's established in the beginning. We're seeing it tie back into the chorus. Looks great. They take it through with dee-dee-dee-dee. Nice little punch down. Really cool. This reminds me, it's like the most... It reminds me of, you know, like a belly bounce where you have your legs and you have your arms up and then you pick up one of your legs. It feels like a super grungy, heavy, varied belly bounce. It kind of gives off that energy, very full, how we're approaching it. There's probably a better move we could equate it to, but that's what it just reminded me of. I like the subtlety here of the tension of the body roll in that, which is nice. Then we can pick it up, nice transition. Then we take it through, boom, nice kick. I mean, could we equate that to maybe not really getting sturdy, but that kind of, that choice of the kick is something you do see in a Get Sturdy. I like that part where they make this arm a fixed point and they make a fun rotation happen with the other arm. I really like that. There's a lot of fun choices happening in the choreo. And once again, boom, putting up hands up, and we're putting our hands up, right? So I think it's dope. That make you put your hand, so it goes, and you switch it, and it's kind of like we're tapping it, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. That is cool, and that looks cool in unison like that. Then when you see it again with one of them have this moment, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, it just feels so different, right? I'm a really big fan of this choreo. It is dope. You take it through, and the subtlety, doom, doom, I really like that. Over. And then it goes, hoo, 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 hoo. Nice. And then make it nice and subtle. Because notice the whistle, or like how the tone is more, it's not a whistle, but it gives something where you could whistle it. But it's higher. It's in a falsetto. So it's more intimate in sound. So going with a more subtle groove, it's going to be more effective than something loud in that particular tone that you're wanting to justify. I love the choice of really dropping it and making a nice moment. And we're slowly building it up. Then right here, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, and it does, I mean, could you pull like a little Harlem Shake? Yeah, but it's just more of a head influencing more than shoulder, so that's why I wouldn't give it that. But I really like how they chose to make it as we transition it out. And we fly, get it? Haha, fly. All the wordplay that I really wanted in Cherry Bomb. And please note, yes, I know it's a huge age gap between the two routines. Remember, I just looked at it while I'm looking at this one. It's exactly what I wanted fulfilled in that one. Missed opportunities are fulfilled here. So these are like perfect comparisons between the beauty of musicality, connection between music and movement. That's exactly how it feels. Also, this right here, this feels very much like we're doing like a little red nose, like a red nose, like that little vibe right there, like that. But they take it through a nice choice of using the knees and then picking up the leg. So that does remind me also, it's like a different variant from what you saw earlier where they kind of drop it, but this time they keep it more centered with the legs. Cool. Hands up. Look at the fixed points. If you don't know what a fixed point is, it's whenever you place something like a body part in the context of dance, place a body part and you move and it stays fixed in one place. It is a point that is fixed in space. So in this case, notice the fist, boom, and they make their body move and it looks still. No, this is not technically still. There's a counterbalance that is taking place. There is a push and a pull happening between the joints in question. So in this case, they're using that shoulder, they're using their range to keep this nice and pushed over to the right side as we're moving our body to the left. Love that. And then notice they go here and then they branch it back over, hands up, switch the arm. Really nice. Then they go heel. Ah, love that. So it goes tap, tap with the heel, ha, ha, with the hand. Oh my God, complimentary on both ends because they're both extremities, two completely opposite sides of the levels, but how loud the movement appears is the same. Love that. And everybody snaps their head over to the side. Really fun seeing your feature have this moment. Digging it in, and they go hands up, very communal. Once again, in the individual choices, it's small and subtle, but because they showed competency and synchronicity, it helps us appreciate when they do go individualized. Love that. Super dope. I like that. DDD, hands up. Just nice little shimmy down, little two-step tap, and then they branch that arm up. Looks great. Then they take it. Let's go. Ha ha. Like we party and I love it. Little subtleties, once again, similar to a lot of these choices. So I do appreciate the intention behind the hands. A lot of times hands get neglected. I love it when they get their own time to shine because you would be surprised at how many people neglect hands. Even something as simple, it's not simple. well, no, waves are simple. The execution can be complex. Let me put it that way. But like of a wave, because I used to do waving in the sense of where I was neglecting the fingers and I wasn't thinking through completing a wave with the fingers, but the fingers are what makes the wave have a sense of completeness and direction of where you want to send the energy. In this case, a lot of the movements, there's a lot of fingerprint overlap between how the hands are being utilized, and it's really nice that we're able to see it very clean and clearly throughout the choreography, through the choice of the heel tap to the, you know, come here, like the bailiwa, like come over subtleties, but also as we bring it in. And it means that all of the guys that are performing this here, they cleaned it very well. So shout out to whoever cleaned the routine. If you don't know what cleaning is, it's getting a routine to where it looks in sync with each other and everybody's on the same page with choices. So that person is just as important as your choreographer. Sometimes it's the same person, sometimes as a movement director. It's one of many roles that you can have whenever you work with a group to get them where they need to be in their goal. Side note. Anyway, I digress. Take it through, nice little tap out, nice transition. They go, this was dope. So they go face the back. You have one person stay behind, not go to the back, and then he turns when somebody else turns around. That was really nice. A fun little, not rickroll, but definitely a little accented fun transition moment that kind of ping-pongs my focus. And that made it very interesting. And it didn't feel predictable. I love that. There's a nice little element of surprise throughout the routine, which is really fun. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Really like how they're building that up, stacking it up. Nice little punch there. He takes it through. Nice choice of taking the legs and swiveling them, do-do-do, and making it a fun moment before he brings up the energy, throws it up. Everybody's over on the side. Nice little kick. Once again, similar to what you saw earlier in the unison, but he's all by himself. The little scoop is nice. I like that part. Nice little slam down, bringing and sliding that leg in. Looks nice. Like a freaky. If somebody hit it here on the freaky, I'm naturally going to want to watch him because his movement makes the most sense to the sound. Everybody else is doing movement that frames this movement. So that's why I want to look at that part of the formation, which would be, if you didn't know, over here, but specifically my guy right here because of the specific move he did, not because his mouth was moving. So I really like that. And then you have our group over here coming in hot, which is very easy to see that I'm ready for that transition because the group that just finished on the freaky, they drop down, head is downcast, so it is, they're like, our time is done. And then you have a group of three over here, my guide's in center in the group of three, facing front, looks cool. I like the subtlety of this. Boom, notice he makes a modification. Everybody else branches the arms up, except for those other two that are framing your feature. They take their arm and they accent it up as well. They bring it through that branch, so it feels very complimentary, and they're hitting these accents in the music. It's so satisfactory. This is wonderful. Very pleasing. Hitting it through, dun dun dee, and I like that little action happening from my guy in the all gray. Really nice. So I would say movement quality wise, because some of you guys may ask who is my preference and who's executing the choreo. I do like my guy in the all gray. I like how his choices come across through the track. Can they potentially run into a risk of being a little too full or too textured for a group context potentially, but there hasn't been anything that they've done specifically that made me go, oop, that was a little too much. Because sometimes you do experience that with people, especially if they're deemed the dance role. I don't know who your main dancer is in this. I don't know if they still do that. I know, I think it's not debated, but like everyone's trying to be an all-rounder, which I get. But anyway, I digress. That's my guy that stands out to me right now. You let me know if he has a role, if he is considered the main dancer or one of the lead dancers, because he definitely has incredible movement quality for this particular track. But everybody does. But he just sticks out to me. But I like how everybody's bleeding the energy through. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Beautiful, beautiful ripple. Your features over on stage right, looking great. And then you have a nice, like more breath. Yeah, it kind of feels like a wave, but I wouldn't give them like a full wave because we weren't really pushing the energy from a starting point to the finish. But I do like this flowiness, this breath of movement that took place. Dropping it through. Now that right there, we branch it up. So that felt like we're establishing some form of a connection of the wave starting from the elbow, connecting between the fingers over to the other side. So I like that. Very fast though. So they take it and go pop, pop, and they go to the other side. I like the buildup of this choreo a lot. Super cool. Don't put your hands up. Yep, hands up. Da, da, da. I love that too. It's just really playful, but also it's very competent in their angles and their commitment to that, right? Even though I do say that some of the discrepancies of these angle choices, it's also in a one take. Woohoo! Love a one take. You can tell some of the angles are just a smidgen off. Some are kind of breaking the wrist here as they're doing it, and some are projecting up. I would say the common denominator is more of like that conversational diagonal one, but all of them, it's so subtle, it doesn't matter, honestly. Like little details like that don't truly matter unless the concept calls for like that squeaky clean synchronicity. That's just say if they really wanted to be squeaky clean, that would be something that they would want to establish. Where's their energy setting up in the move? Because if it's in your lat, it's going to feel different than if it's like in your bicep. There's more room for discrepancies of your angle depending on where your energy is coming from. Anyway, moving on from there. I like this part once again. Instead of it being in the back, it's now in the front. Really fun. Yeah, I'm getting ready, and I like the dig on that. And put your hands up, hola, hola. Once again, so it's just a different feature in the front. Same choreo though, looks great. Yeah, he, hands up. Yeah, it's fun. Hands up, hola, hola. It's just they build it really well. Kick, a nice little kick happening there. They have to be very mindful that they can't let their lower body influence what's going on up here. You don't want this to bounce too much if it's supposed to be a fixed point, which they do pretty well. Everyone takes it through. Once again, all the choreo is pretty much the same, just different formations, different transitions. I've talked about this with Cherry Bomb. I will say it here. That's always, I don't mind it. I think it's a smarter, not harder mentality. I think it works great, and it's not going to take away from the routine really that much at all if you repeat choreo, especially if it's this syncopated or it's this dynamic. I think it's totally fine to repeat because there's so much to glean anyway. Not only that, changing the formation up, changing it instead of making a unison to a feature moment, feature to unison, which is what we're about to see. Those little elements are going to be memorable. Exactly my point, because I remember it just from watching it once, maybe twice, just in my first little gleaning of the routine. And I think that's super dope that it's already so notable in my head. So it's definitely, that's always a good sign whenever you're looking at a routine and you can remember a couple of movements, and it's not because they repeated it, it's because of how they structured it and made it a little peekaboo moment throughout the choreo and throughout the routine. Routine and choreo are the same thing, but routine, I'm talking more in essence to the track and the choreo, not just the choreo, if that makes sense. Anyway. I like the subtlety there. See this part right here. That was awesome. Where it was just him there. That was when I really focused on it, and then I got to really catch it when we just did the analysis here. Then we're dropping it down, and we have the subtlety right here. They were all up, but now they're in that 3 and 3 different levels formation. We have technically seen this already, but different order most likely in different grooves. So that's why it doesn't feel too labored and it doesn't feel too repetitive in formations. And then once again, they're building out the formation. They're not staying somewhere too long, which I like. It creates a dynamic. So it's unison, but they're transitioning a lot, which doesn't make it feel so stale so quickly. There is beauty in unison. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But you can't just rely upon unison unless your concept specifically calls for it. This concept does not call for it. It does call for more individuality, which allows for grace whenever you do see discrepancies or differences between people's interpretation of the choreo. But here in this case, there's a lot of competency in how they're all meshing well together, which helps us be able to appreciate their individuality because we've seen them put in the work to match the integrity of how the choreography was made. And I love seeing that. That hola, hola, I love that choice. You have everybody have a nice little accent with the lower body, super fun. Subtleties, love that choice. And then you have it right here, everybody making obviously different choices. This is exactly, oh my gosh, when we want to talk about some imagery or some parallels, here you freaking go. So we're going to keep talking about Cherry Bomb because once again, I may release them both same day just so you can really understand where I'm coming from on all this. When you look at this, you see that what makes it work, yes, it's even number. It's slightly off balance because you have a 3 and then you have a 2. We're going to see what happens with our feature in a second. But this reminds me exactly of the part that I made a note on with Cherry Bomb. There was a section of the choreography where everybody was on the floor except for one feature. Half of the room, so half of the individuals in the group, I think there's 9 total, so I would say maybe 5 of them, were all framing their plank to the inside towards the feature. But there was a group of 3 or 4 that was going every other. And so what ended up happening is it felt, even though everyone made individualized choices, the direction in which their head was facing into the transition of the plank, into the transition of the unison plank progression that happened very soon after, it was off. It wasn't balanced because you had a whole side where everybody was going in opposition like this. But then you had a group that, let's say everybody was just facing towards the outside. It was off balance in direction. And so it didn't feel like I was able to appreciate my feature being properly framed in that moment. I felt like a missed opportunity in staging, in my perspective. And this is why, because if you look here, even though it is a smidgen off balance, you can see the intention of making sure we have opposition represented on both sides to help alleviate some of that balance. You also notice with your feature, where is he traveling? Most likely he's going to be traveling up, but catering more towards stage right, because that is where the other two are taking place. If he happens to come over here, then that means that this formation is going to have to be modified in some way in order for this to stay balanced or to stay visually pleasing. So I'm intrigued. I forgot what he ends up doing, so let's find out. Where does he go? So he walks forward. Love that. So everybody takes it. Nice little wave. Notice my guy in all gray. I really liked his progression on that. So he takes it. He does a nice little transition of the knees. Boom. And he leads that energy up. I really like that choice. I don't think everybody did that. They probably just created energy and transitioned it. That's an individualized choice. For me, I really liked how my guy in all gray did it. It was cool. And a nice little accent, and a boom, boom. Love that choice as well. Yeah. So notice my guy right here, he stayed pretty centered, but he didn't really cater really at all on the stage left. He tried to create some sort of completeness on stage right. Love that. New feature, nice little snap, helps us establish that's who I need to look at. Everybody's a little bit down except for your previous feature who was just featured. So him staying up makes sense. He drops down. I love that. Pulse. Pulse looks great. And then he has a nice subtlety there. I like the walks. Looks nice. Love that too, where you have your group of 3 and 3. It's balanced, maybe not symmetrical, that's fine. I think one or the other should definitely be sought after, but you don't have to necessarily have those, especially if your concept calls for an imbalance, because sometimes groups do that, and I think that's fine. It's a fun thing to navigate, but I like how you took people from the back, felt like we were in columns, and then they revealed themselves. And then from there, it went from a group of 3 to a group of 4, so he added himself on to this other group to really make it feel like it's building, right? So they're using strength in numbers. So they went from a smaller number to a bigger number, went from 3 to 4, and now we're going to do something with a full group except for one feature. The reason why is because they're crescendoing it and taking it to a climactic place. So going from 4 members to 3 members, or 3 to 3, feels too equal. So I think it was so smart on the choreographer's part to go from 3 members, adding on, keeping one of them who is still your feature, to turn it into 4, and then everybody gets involved to create a nice build-up for your next feature. I love that. It's so subtle, but when you look at it, I think it's very strategic. Of course, there's a lot of thoughtfulness in how they chose to go about this choreo, and I really like the fact that with this one specifically, I don't see really any issues in the sense of sacrificing people, because we have an even number. It feels like we're catering and everybody is seen the whole time, in which I think in K-pop, I think that is more of a priority than I see in other groups a lot of times, or any type of niche, because in K-pop, everybody that is a member is a bias to someone. And so if I was somebody watching, I'm like, oh, my person right here, he's my bias, but he ends up getting covered up for the whole course. That would be discouraging for me. I would want to see him shine the whole time, even if he wasn't a feature. So that's why I kind of take note of when you see formation sacrifice a member, and that would always be something to strive to improve, is to continue finding different ways to showcase members in even numbered groups so we can help make all of the fans happy, is really where I'm coming from with that. But so far we're doing a really good job of seeing that here. I really like Yi-chan and Root's choreo. I think they should do more. There's a good chance I may have seen them do more, but I really, really like this a lot. Subtly coming up. I like that right there. So notice, yes, he gets sacrificed, but he just had a feature, so it felt like a fun little visual choice as they peel up, and they're dropping down, and he's not going to stay back there longer than an 8 count, I bet you. Yeah, coming up. Digging it through. Love that. And watch, that was a whole 8 count. Oh, Jess, eat your words. I love that little, notice they took the energy and then they swiveled it around. Ooh, love that. But look, he's not there anymore. So I would say about an 8 count, 2 8 counts tops. I refine my note. Anyway, like the claps. They did more claps in this than the clap your hands track Cherry Bomb. My goodness. I like that syncopation. Boom, boom, boom. Love that. They take it, they bleed it back. Really nice digging the energy in that heel. They take it through, nice little chug, boom. Like that. Digging it through, dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee, fun. Now, this is a different choreo, different course. That's always a risk you can run. Sometimes your course that you do at the end may be a bit anticlimactic than what you want it to be, or sometimes doing the same thing all 3 times can also be anticlimactic. I like the variety and I like the change. I think that could just be a preference thing. Some people may argue this feels a bit underwhelming compared to what it could be. I can see that, but it doesn't bother me enough to really be like, that's an issue. It's just an observation. I like the claps. Boom. Yeah, it's fine. You know, da-da-da-da-da-ba-da-da-da, cool. Make you put, like, so now everybody does it. Make you put your hands up. Make you put your hands up. And they like how they build it, too. I like that. It's fun. It's dope. This whole thing. Nice little kick, boom, and a boom. So a lot of their range is now elevated, but it started building in this last course. It didn't start that way. It started with a little chug, felt more conversational in some of the choices, but here we're noticing a lot of their choices are expanding out in the kinesphere instead of keeping it internal or keeping it more linear. So we're seeing a lot of that, especially in this movement right here, that sequence right there, hitting it through. Also, they're doing a lot of ball changes to help weight shift, so it creates more range in a lot of their choices, hitting it through, hands up, and we have more unison as well. I like this part. It's cool. Keeping the pinky and the thumb, and we're going back in, and then we make it a nice little moment over on the sides. And we go boom and a boom, boom. And I like how he uses this bounce to lower his level. I'm talking about my feature that just happened right here. Love that. I loved that choice. They're being very smart. Could be the choreographer or the members being very smart in how they're transitioning. So whenever they're doing a groove or they're doing a bounce or a rock, they're allowing that to be the focal point, and they're doing a good job of committing to that focal point. So when they transition to a new spot, it feels more of a surprise, which is the whole thing of what makes this so interesting and so enjoyable. You know what I mean? This is just so dope. I like this sort of fly and fly. And like, hola, cute, fun, matches what we've already done before. Nice little party moment, bringing it through, boom, nice. We're tackling this arm finger placement once again, boom, but instead of just keeping it here as a moment, now it's been turned into a polyrhythm. Oh, I love it. Love it. Hitting it through, boom, ooh, ooh, yeah. Bringing it through, woohoo. Then they take these, bring it through. Notice that they're using the hips to really make that moment, that bounce. It's not just in the center. They're leaning it, they're scooping it. Really fun. Turning it through with the turn. Oh man. And then you have your feature in the center. That was really fun hinge moment from him. It had a little legato flavor to it, matched the kind of tone that he set there. Now we're back into da-da-da. That was nice. Fun little finish. I loved that. That was great. There's also a chance that I probably really enjoyed this one more than I could have potentially because I just came off of a track like Cherry Bomb. I love the track Cherry Bomb from NCT 127. I was just not a fan of the connection between the choreography and the music personally, and I talk about all of that extensively there. So if you would like, I recommend to everyone to please watch my take of Cherry Bomb first. I will attach it in this video. Please take a look at that one first, and then you could watch this one, but I know this is at the end of the video, so maybe that's too late. Whatever, that's fine. I really liked this, and I think I was able to appreciate a lot of the evolution of standard of how choreography structured with the boy groups, of the NCT branches of the groups, because of how it was set at the forefront. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed this. I like it. I definitely appreciate, I mean, I love seeing complexity done well, but I also appreciate simplistic choreo, a lot of heavy unison choreo whenever it matches the aesthetic of the track. Like, I think there's beauty to be had in both, and I literally just saw that back to back just now, and I mean, I don't mind it. I think this was dope. This was really, really dope seeing this from this group. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Jay, for the request. Man, I am very excited to potentially continue looking at NCT Wish, as well as NCT 127 and the other NCTs in the NCT universe. That's a lot of saying NCT in one sentence. So anyway, I digress. If you want to see more of my perspective of a group from SM or from other major labels or just dance content in general, I have it all over YouTube, but I always have more on Patreon. Like you notice, this is is a Patreon request. I have a couple tiers now that do have guaranteed requests that you can lock in and be a part of if you so choose. But if you like just hanging out on YouTube or on Patreon just to see what comes out, I'll be here having fun along the way. Once again, my name is Jess. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.